Second Deputy President, Comrade Fikile Mbalula. Congratulations to the newly elected General Secretary, Comrade Kolani Prusente, Sbar, First Deputy General Secretary, Comrade Chakale Matati. The new one. Banpalelo rongo. Puti mabocha uqolo qabana. Aba bantu babhala speech lento nivela ndiqhawula. Comrade Puti, Second Deputy General Secretary, National Treasurer, members of the Central Executive Committee, distinguished guests, comrades and compatriots. We are honored, comrades, to be invited to address this Central Executive Committee in the presence of the President of COSATU, also present here, and the former leaders of this giant union, POPCRU, whose members are at the coalface of law enforcement in the country. Platforms like this are not mere formalities. They are the lifeblood for ideological debate, indispensable for sustaining the vital political engagements and critical reflections that fortify collective resolve, ensuring that we remain true to the enduring spirit of our struggle for fundamental transformation of our society. This interaction, comrades, provides us with an invaluable opportunity to remind you of where we come from and directly engage with your perspectives on the critical political questions that confront our nation and our alliance today. And indeed, Comrade President, we have heard your message that we must leave the ivory towers and live amongst our people and connect with our people and connect with our allies and friends and comrades. More importantly, comrades, it offers us the space to share our thoughts, unfiltered, bypassing the often distorting lens of third parties, like what we may read in the media. This direct engagement as the ANC, we don't take it lightly. It fosters mutual understanding, strengthens our strategic alignment, and reinforces our shared commitment to the national democratic revolution, ensuring that we move forward as a united front with a clear and unwavering vision. We are also honored to be here, comrades, amongst the organized working class of our country. The ANC, as a disciplined force of the left, is always happy to spend time and express its support with the workers of our country. The working class remains at the center and an integral part of the leadership of our national democratic revolution. Whilst we will continue to use the levers of the state to accelerate change, fundamental transformation can only be sustained if the people are organized and mobilized. Trade unions are critical in this endeavor. The ANC, as part of the alliance with organized labor represented by COSATU, continues to be interested in the world of labor. We remain concerned about the world of work. We remain interested in the conditions of work for the working class. It is impossible for us not to care about these issues affecting workers because the majority of our people are working class. Without a thoroughgoing transformation of the lives of the working class, the promise of our democracy will not be fulfilled. We have always understood that the liberation struggle in South Africa, with a unique colonialism of a special type, characterization, was not only about political liberation, but equally economic liberation. Political liberation will remain hollow liberty without fundamental economic transformation across race, gender, and class. Whilst the ANC remains a multi-class organization, our overwhelming bias leans towards the working class for the obvious reasons that they constitute the main motive force for change. That is where the ANC derives the largest share of its electoral mandate. The ANC leaders and activists who were union members always played a central role in the formation of the South African Congress of Trade Unions in 1955, the formation of Umkhonto weSizwe in 1961, and subsequent armed struggle, the revival of trade unions in the 1970s, and the formation of COSATU in 1985, and the subsequent adoption of the Freedom Charter by the Federation in 1987, the public sector. Accordingly, SACTU and later COSATU became a strategic ally of the ANC, born out of this collective theorization of the role and place of workers in the NDR. The progressive trade union movement has been a key component of the mass democratic movement, which mobilized various sectors of the society to render South Africa ungovernable and make apartheid unworkable. In response to President Oliver Tambo's clarion call, many union leaders and members made supreme sacrifices for the freedom and rights enjoyed by many workers today. Many were jailed, some were murdered, and others joined the movement in exile. Nobody agreed that or ever envisioned a union among policemen and women, correctional services, etc. But it is the brave women who took it upon themselves to form this union. POPCRU was not formed in the luxury time. It was formed in the deep belly of the fight and the fires against apartheid. And POPCRU was born. And policemen chose to cross the line and join the struggle against apartheid. Freedom and rights enjoyed by many workers today. Many were jailed, some were murdered, and others joined the movement in exile. The central executive takes place against the backdrop of sharpening contradictions, both internationally and locally, characterized by dramatic shifts in the political landscape. On the domestic front, the electoral outcomes of the 2024 national and provincial elections plunged the movement into uncharted waters, characterized by the NEC as a strategic setback for the National Democratic Revolution. Despite this, as the party with the largest votes, the ANC seized both the tactical and strategic initiative and started shaping a narrative about the need for us to secure political power and not sit on the sidelines. We came with the idea that all political parties must work together and voluntarily cooperate in setting up an inclusive, viable, and stable government of national unity. We did this not because we are cowards or sellouts. Any serious revolutionary understands that there are moments when you have to take tactical measures to open space for the revolution to recover from a major setback. The GNU must be understood in this context. Our strategy for the realization of the NDR has not changed, but the tactics do change based on the material conditions occasioned by the outcome of the 2024 elections. We no longer, comrades, have 50% majority, but we remain in control of government, and we will not retreat from pushing forward for the National Democratic Revolution. We agree and concur, Comrade President, with your call here that you need a national police summit. You must not ask for it, it must happen. Because your ally, the ANC, is dominant in that government of national unity. And therefore, when you want a national summit, it must happen. Ministers of the ANC must be close to POPCRU, like all material times. To strike a personal note, I was a minister of police. I never missed a POPCRU Congress or any meeting that we're invited to. And of course, you have another union on the other side. It was not nice when I come here all the time. So I'm happy to see the former president of POPCRU. We worked very well together. It was not Mbalula's mandate, it was the ANC mandate. Why are other comrades not continuing? If they are not doing it, comrades, come to Lutuli House, and even you don't have to walk and go to Lutuli House, just tell us, we'll make it happen. And that is what is important. So, comrades, the 2024 movement has brought to the fore stark contradictions. The problem with us is that we send people to transform the system, but the system ends up transforming them. And they end up becoming boyabas. Bevuma yonke into. Once you look, Lenin says after the overthrow of the Tsar regime, and then there is a general there who says, how do I support the new dispensation, which brought in and ushered in the Soviet Union? And Lenin says to this general, every time you look at the enemy and it is smiling, the enemy is smiling, and all of that, you must know that you are not doing anything good to support us. But whenever you look at the enemy and the enemy is not in good spirits, you must accelerate and know you are doing everything good to support the new dispensation. And even today, when you are a comrade and you are deployed, and the enemy always clap hands for everything that you are doing, you must know that you are not transforming. You are just part of the furniture. And you are not doing anything to help the National Democratic Revolution to move forward. We must change the setup. The setup must not change us. And that is what is important. However, comrades, we are all committed to the unity and cohesion of the alliance. We are engaged in deliberations aimed at strengthening the alliance, which include discussions on the reconfiguration of the alliance and to seek the most optimal way to ensure effectiveness of the alliance on the political programs of the movement. We respect the autonomy of political organs of the alliance, COSATU Communist Party and the SACP, and then the African National Congress as the vanguard liberation movement. And in this particular instance, we do not dictate what must happen to our component alliance partners and comrades. So we believe that, however, the decision any of us to stand on their own will not complement the alliance and the unity of our struggle. It will further weaken us. It will strengthen our opponents. We believe that we need to strengthen the National Democratic Revolution led by the African National Congress. Our shared history is a testament to the power of unity and the unwavering commitment to the National Democratic Revolution. In moments of national crisis, this relationship has been a reliable source of strength, direction, and unwavering support. As we look to the future, we must harness this legacy, draw strength from our shared experiences, and use them to drive progress and transformation, ensuring that the sacrifices of the past are not in vain, and that the promise of a better future is realized for all. We agree, Comrade President, and we are in the process of working on these issues the Alliance Summit, the Economic Summit, to make it a point that our alliance does cohere. And we start with the bilateral processes to strengthen our relations and to iron out any point of difference and agree on it. That is why the ANC is not opposed to reconfiguration of the alliance. And that is the issue that we are prepared to implement, working with our partners. Reconfigure the alliance, work together with the alliance partners in terms of how we strengthen our cohesion as the partners in the alliance. The geopolitical landscape, comrades, is experiencing tectonic shifts with the rise of ultra-right governments with fascist tendencies, hell-bent in reasserting racist tendencies of yesteryear. These are the authors of neocolonialism and modern-day imperialism, steeped in entrenching racial inequality and disdain for human solidarity, steeped in warmongering and ethnic cleansing. These developments, comrades, are fueled by a new wave of disinformation that has replaced diplomacy and intelligence, underpinned by unbridled greed and the pursuit of commercial interests at all costs. We unequivocally pledged our solidarity with the people of Palestine and took the unprecedented step to hold the apartheid Israeli regime before the International Court of Justice, to be held accountable for its actions in Gaza and against the people of Palestine at large. History has no blank checks. History has no blank pages. The world will not forget that the United States has used its veto power in the United Nations Security Council approximately 15 times over the decades to block any attempt to hold Israel accountable for its illegal actions and violations of international law. The hypocrisy and double standards of those who wield their veto power as a weapon allow Israel to commit unspeakable atrocities with impunity, while others must be held accountable for the same or lesser atrocities. Our deep bonds of solidarity with those that remain oppressed were forged in the furnaces of our shared struggles. From Palestine to Western Sahara, despite pressures exerted on us by those who seek to impose their will on our sovereign state, we dare not falter in our duty to advance a better Africa and a better world, where peaceful coexistence of nations, respecting each other's sovereignty in a multipolar and rules-based world order, which is underpinned by adherence by all nations to multilateralism as opposed to unilateralism. As we navigate the complexities, comrades, of the 21st century, the working class remains central to driving a forward momentum and shaping the future of our nation. The ANC strategy and tactics documents are set, I quote, "The working class remains the leading force in the struggle for social transformation," close quote. Reminding us that our struggle is not merely a historical artifact, but a living and evolving project. However, we must acknowledge the strategic shifts that have impacted our economy. Comrade the President and your collective and members of the Central Executive, we agree with you that we need to cohere and the center must hold. The shifting political sense in our body politic demand of us to find a path that will advance our strategic objectives, while remaining true to the ANC's values and character. Such path must translate to a practical expression of our manifesto, commitments to realize the dreams and aspirations of the citizenry at the center of which remains the working class. All our 6 manifesto priorities have workers at the center, whether in relation to tackling the high cost of living or defending democracy and advancing our freedom. The commitment to collective bargaining, as entrenched in our labor laws, is important in protecting the rights of workers and ensuring that we make notable progress towards the realization of a living wage and decent work. These are the gains of our freedom that we must guard jealously and close ranks when external forces seek to divide us. Our commitment to organizational renewal requires of the ANC to be responsive to the dreams and aspirations of the motive forces for progressive change. Assuming the mantle of leader of society means embracing ethical leadership that is persuaded by nothing contrary to service to the people. Our strategy and tactics is emphatic that organizational renewal is primarily about building the ANC's resilience, enhancing its transformative capacity and its ability to adapt to changing situations so that it can continue to serve and lead the people. This is a cardinal principle that continues to inform our choices as we navigate these uncertain times, without sacrificing the values and principles that define the character of the ANC. These complex challenges require leadership skills, which are important in building a strong organization that must in turn be at the center of national transformation and service delivery. We have embarked on a process to rebuild our structures, while simultaneously introducing a mandatory political education foundation course for all our members. Alongside the rebuilding process, the NEC has approved an accountability framework that will enable us to monitor and evaluate the performance of our employees in government at all levels. This allows the ANC to have a finger on the pulse on service delivery matters. It also enables us to intervene decisively when communities do not get services or encounter intransigent municipalities on matters that affect their daily lives. We need to build a social contract between ourselves as government and our communities. In that way, we will work with our communities to protect those who provide essential service, like the police who protect us on a daily basis in our communities. We need to work with them. We need to be the shield of the police in our communities against brutal criminals. The action plan on service delivery, recently approved by our National Executive Committee and presented by the President to our structures and councillors at the recently held roll call, is a practical expression of this commitment on things that must change now as we progress towards the 2026 local government elections. And I want to tell you, comrades, talking is okay, action is important. If a mayor is not delivering and is not doing anything, we must not take 100 years to remove that person and replace them with another one. And in doing so, we must not be informed also by self-interest and factionalism. We must do a proper evaluation. And you can ask a question, why we are lagging behind in areas where we are in charge? Why do we appoint incompetent people where we are in charge, when we are supposed to be just flourishing? The time to lament and complain is over. You will see in the next 2 weeks or so to come, you will see changes in the Northwest, in the municipalities that are underperforming there, and the people who are underperforming in that province. You will see changes in the Free State. You will see changes in Limpopo. You will see changes in Mpumalanga. You will see changes in the Eastern Cape. Where we have had bigger challenges, enough, it is enough. And we must act, comrades. We can't just talk service, and therefore people don't see that service. We can't talk about good deeds and our public representative do the opposite. Comrade Oliver Tambo says we must be distinguishable between a revolutionary and a criminal, between a revolutionary and a tsotsi. We must accept that our structures are infiltrated by komtsotsis, and there are many, and they are clothed in our colors, and they wear our clothes, they speak our language, but their actions and deeds are not consistent with what we stand for. Ngotsotsi aba ubabona emini ilanga libalele. So maqabani makukho ubekho umehluko phakathi kotsotsi neqabani. Awusoze ube neqabani elingutsotsi and then ulala uvuke ungamboni ukuthi ngutsotsi lo ndihamba naye. Uyabona ngoku sine commission, ningazoyika ezi commission, mazize zidlule sizijonge and sizifakele amehlo nezibuko ukuthi where did we go wrong? Where did we go wrong? Why do we have commissions and they are about us? Ipinyani kwezi commission. If le commission besingayenzanga besizawuthini kwaba bantu belilizwe? Ngoba umkhwanazi uvuke nje wa address abantu. Benifuna upresident athini kwaba bantu? Atekete aba bantu bebezayivukela le rhulumente ngoba nali ipolisa elithenjiweyo lithi hey lo rhulumente uphethwe yimigulukudu, phethwe ngotsotsi. Upresident wabuye eBrazil wavula iCommission ebeza kwenza ntoni uMatamela? Ivuliwe bonke iCommission, nina ningamapolisa uba kukwinto eniphethe iziseni phambili. Sizokwazi ulungisa le migulukudu ixakileyo. Bendisemapoliseni ndibabona ilotsotsi ubusuku nemini. Ndandisebenza nalamapolisa afike phaa ndixelela athi nangu utsotsi tyhini lo mntu bendimthembe kangaka kanti ngumgulukudu. Maqabane, if the rule of law in this country can collapse, then we don't have a state. Forget. There will be no government. There will be nothing. We will just become a banana republic, something we have never seen. The time has come. We must draw the line between ourselves and the criminal element. And the ANC must lead in front in relation to that. Ningothuswa ziCommission zoMadlanga ne-ad hoc committee. Abanikazi bazo babaze ngaphambili. Kodwa besinganawusonga izandla kujongelele kuthethwa ngobugebengu eSouth Africa. Nakwezi commission xa sezigqibileyo maku-implemente. Because you can have a commission that costs billions and then resolutions are there, implementation atsho ugwede dololo. Anditsho ke ngeza terms zakhe. Nditsho nje dololo must disappear. Implementation must happen. And that is what is important. And comrades, I can assure you, we're going to marshal that with precision and ensure things do happen. Those who are sent by our movement to do work on our behalf, they will be held accountable and ensure that we do things properly. And there will be accountability. We've put measures in place. Comrades, the NDR is led by us. While as alliance partners we may not always agree on tactics, we have, however, always been able to find each other through constructive political engagement. We remain firmly committed to strengthening the alliance. We have committed to the convening of the Alliance Political Council. And we must have an Alliance Political Summit, not just to mark the register. What are the issues on the table that we must resolve? We must have a bilateral as the ANC with the COSATU. Comrades, the ANC will work for the unity of the alliance. will work with the Communist Party, will work with COSATU. We don't want a disintegrated tripartite alliance. And therefore, Kubeko, Ozmele Keke, and all of that. Abanye abantu ke they celebrate. Ubani ayibaleka le ANC ni namabomvana ni ishiyela bani. Because ni ishiyela amadlagushi aphathe wodwa. Kukho abantu kaloku abayicelebrate i-Communist Party xa ithi yazimela bathi mabambe ubone lo muntu uthetha lento kudala elindile kwalento ayithethayo. Akho muntu unoyivuyela loo nto. But at an ideological level, comrades, mandithathe ndiyizise apha emhlabeni lento ndiyisuse ezulwini. I-Communist Party yangena ku-ANC ngofaka umfutho we-ideology nepolitiki. Azange ingene kule alliance ngokuthi ifuna ucontesta for numbers. Ile nto abantu abangayivisisi. I-Communist Party xa icontest i-by-election ifumana 70. But no, uyabona ke bafumane 70. Communist Party has never been in the alliance to induce bigger numbers. It has been here to shape ideology. That is why the advanced catership in the ANC are communists. Why to Mandela kaka disrupted rally on behalf of the Youth League Zama communists? Because they thought that communism is a foreign ideology. And then when they were conscientized, because membership of the party was not disclosed that time, it was underground. When they were asked, who are the communists in the ANC? Bafumano Kotani, Bafumano Moses Mapita. That's when they started to stop their madness of protesting. If Ukotani, the advanced communist, who is also a leader of the ANC, Uklendo Communist Party, Kuchukuti party right. That's how they then seized as the Youth League to disrupt meetings of the Communist Party. But it took Ntate Kotani to wait for Madiba endlini yakhe. Wamfaka umkhabulo ukuthi ayibambe lento. So even today, when you think of somebody who's doing well in the ranks of the ANC, astute, uncorruptible, and the best of the best, you look at that person, you'll find a communist in that person. So abanye abantu lento bafuna udefine nge-membership dilikomanisi. Ikomanisi ayilo nje. I-communist ngezenzo. Uzambona xa umbona before Communist Party was unbanned and then became a mass party. Ama-communists besibona ngezenzo. So xa nishiya i-ANC nishiyela bani esisikhewu ku-ANC? Because apha i-ANC ngumbutho kaGalele Bhayile. Kukho abantu apha bathanda ukuthi le meko yongxowa ihlale i-celebrate. If the ANC does not have those sharpened contradictions within its ranks, izawulahleka lento. Sawusheka sisodwa pha. Kungekho ungaboni right. I-interest is the working class zingabona because kusheka abantu abavumelanayo. Ukuthi hayi masiye lehak. Akho mnyonqando omnye. Ziyalandelana zinje. Sithi kwaze kwamandi kupholile bamkile. So sanuyenza loo nto because manishiyayo le nqwelo kaGalele Bhayile niyayicriplish. Masilungise into yokuthi mhlawumbi iparty has reached a level yokuthi le reconfiguration ixela ntoni na. Silungise mos i-reconfiguration into esizawuhlala phansi siyibethelele njengendlu iphakathi. Uba ingxaki ukuthi ngubani ufuneka econsultiwe xa kwenza into ezithile and all of that masilungise. You know now nixelele enye indaba. Kwele GNU besikuyo sixoxa apha sithetha naba bantu be-DA abelungu be-DA ngoba ngondlebe zikhanyilana bathi ba no sifuna unikeza into yethu apha kurhulumente and all of that siyiphathe ibe into yethu, and therefore i-processes zikarhulumente abayazi nokuthi urhulumente usebenza ngeyiphi indlela. So that is why bexakekile pha, because they thought ukuthi they will go to cabinet and pursue whatever that they want and then it goes through. Bafumana ukuthi no, it is not like that. The power of the executive is with the president, because nguye onyikinyayo, but it doesn't end there. It is also the legislature. Apho basibambe khona kukula legislature, because pha asikwazi ugqitha. Uyabona ezinwele zami zimhlophe, ndafika ndimncinci apha sendilixhego ngoku. Azikho mhlophe because of the problems the ANC yila GNU, because phaya comrades andifuna unixokisela sinegotiate emini nasebusuku, akho nto ungayicengiyo pha. Uba ufuna ufaka umuntu ekomitini ethile uyacenga unegotiate one way. Ngoku ndingeyo member yaseparlamente ndiseluthule ndichitha ixesha lami elininzi ndijongane noHelen Zille nabanye abantu apha ndixoxa naba bantu, andilolungo leparlamente mna, but most of the time siyanegotiate apha. And then i-budget xa kufuneka igqithile ayizugqitha. Ndandicinga izawuba lula ugqitha i-budget, bafika phaya bayixingisa kwaba nzima. Sathi sijonga ngapha nathi saye senze enye into apha sifake i-VAT. Enyanini ke laa VAT nathi besingayixoxanga. So bavela ingathi ngabona abantu abahamba ngaphambili. Nani ke ngoku yangathi niyasilahla ngoba siphethe into eningayivisisiyo. Ukuthi bavela phi ngoku ne-VAT? Yaba yimungermuse enye into ongazange wayibona. Yamatsi la budget. Kunzima comrades, akukho lula. Abantu abanixelela ingathi kulula, akukho lula. But into singazuyenza kuthengisa. Ebunzimeni kunjalo uthengisa asizuyenza loo nto. But kusenokwenzeka mos singabantu singumbutho sithengisa. But uba ne-alliance ithi siqhuba ngale ndlela kufuneka siqhube ngayo, uthengisa kulula. Ngoba kho mntu uthi kwikhosathi kodwa comrades nangoku nihlela apha kukho into ezinganonwabisiyo. Nezinye union zikwi-public sector ngoku siphetheyo zikhona into ezingabanwabisiyo. Apho thina funeka sezilungisile ezi zinto before even siba kule nto ye-40%. Abasebenzi abanye akange bayovota because baneengxaki abanazo. Uyabona pha sibize abasebenzi besamu, ndabiza ii-provinces that comrades ndiyayaza siyo bargaining, but masihlale nalama comrade. Thina siyi-ANC yekawo masipala masijongane nalama comrade ukuthi athini. And izisombululo ezininzi siyazifumana pha, because ezinye zezinto ezithethwa ngalama comrades ziyinyani. Umeya Lisela SG akafuna umamela, and bona batya imali but ababhatali basebenzi naba bagqiba uthenga imoto apha. Thina silapha silambile asibhatala, kodwa umeya ugqiba uthenga imoto eziyi-4. Loo nto uyi-explaina njani? Meya nizithenga njani imoto? Ayonto ye-bargaining leyo, yinyani nje msula ewuyixelelwa ngabasebenzi. But if lama comrade awamameli ubaqhuba nje ngale ndlela ukuthi no, you can't listen to them, you will miss a point. And I can tell you from that point we are going to have a joint SAMU ANC and the provinces meeting face to face. City comrades, how did we resolve in Limpopo the following issues in this province which affect the functioning and the working together. Not that our 70, they will not demand what belongs to them. That one belongs to a different process. But the issues we have identified between SAMU and the ANC, what are the issues we should? And that doesn't preempt even other unions from doing that. And that model has worked wonders, and it's working. And there's nothing that says with POPCRU we cannot do that. You know, comrades, abasebenzi apha ningamapolisa abanye ngizi-prison water. Ndanditshintsha amapolisa mosumna. E-airport ndifike pha amapolisa kuthi akudala ahleli pha ifike i-union hayi minister. Uwatshintsha njani la mapolisa ndithi if behleli ixesha elide apha yi-problem. I-union ilwe nam. But POPCRU bihambi in support. Ndaqonda ukuthi noko le nto ayifuni bargaining, yi-decision yam ndinguminister, mandiyixoxe nalama comrade. Le nto yotshintsha amapolisa. E-airport ndifike phaa amapolisa kudala ehleli phaa for 5 years. Umntu waziwa nangesename. Zii-passengers, Mxolungu likhaya mo. Uyabona? Mxolungu uyagqitha phayana e-airport uyaziwa ukuthi awufika o-R Tambo unale Mxolungu. Amtshintsha uMxolungu ndithi mazike rotate. Hey, yavuka i-violence. Kwalini. So, how do we assist each other in the public service to be effective in the fight against corruption? Can we be partners in that regard? As well as the partners if ever we don't talk and understand where we actually come from. Any comrades, we addressed issues there, among others, transformation. And then Kwavuli commissions and all of that, what must happen. Now those things have stopped there. How do we fight crime in the country? How do we work together? How do we reinforce you from a point of view of civil society and the structures we've created to defend the police? I know for sure that union will never defend a policeman who's drunk emsebenzini. Oshushu nje umuntu nje emsebenzini ushushu. Union asoze imdefend lo muntu. And then sometimes it is unfair also. Izinto ezingekho. Ndibona amapolisa apha mna ebethwa ngotsotsi. Amapolisa must be defended. Umuntu ufuneka yazi ukuthi watouch ipolisi usengxakini. Ipolisa alitatshwa. Ipolisa elinxibe i-uniform awukwazi uliphakamisela nditsho nempama nokuthi you can't. Umuntu omthetho lo funeka uvalelwe iminyaka for just doing that. Delela amapolisa. Ipolisa xa lithi zapha funeka ujampe. Bona abantu pha begqushalaza bebetha amapolisa phayana ndathi uyabona le sisigeze. Sisigeze. Abantu bakuthi funeka siba conscientize sisebenzisane nani to defend what is right within the system. So comrades, xa ndigqibelisa ndifuna ubulela i-ANC yabulela kakhulu ngenkxaso yokungalahlwa ngabasebenzi. The ANC is very much proud to come to Central Committee, not that there are no issues. I've heard you, comrades, and then in the Peum Park, even before we came here, Comrade President, that living here, it's important that we must keep close ties. And close ties means an evolving program of action. POPCRU leadership here on top, in a bilateral, has got the right to meet with the leadership of the ANC. And we address key and fundamental issues. We want to thank you for the continued support. You are not supported. I like that saying that we don't support individuals. Yeah. We support the ANC. Asixhasanga isiqu somntu. We are not supporting the personality. We are supporting the organization and the movement. And that one, we want to thank you, comrades, wholeheartedly as the African National Congress. And we dare not fail in our task to transform our society and to do all the important things that needs to be done for the workforce and the working class in our country. The ANC recognizes POPCRU as an important partner in advancing the realization of a democratic society. Your voice, your experience, and your unwavering commitment to social justice are vital to our collective efforts to build a more equitable and prosperous nation. A nation where the dignity of labor is upheld and the fruits of our collective efforts are shared by all. We wish you well in your Central Executive Committee, and we thank you, comrades, for allowing us to share this platform with you today. And we promise you that have faith in our leadership. We have heard you, and what is important for us is action. And trust that robust engagements will deliver resolutions that continue to place the country and the alliance on a steady trajectory in advancing the national democratic revolution. We have heard you, Comrade President, in your political input, when you said, with the developments of the Madanga Commission, you don't take sides, but you must take sides with justice. You must take sides against corruption. You must take sides with ensuring that this country, rule of law is safeguarded. And you must take sides with that. The criminal element and everything else must be exercised in the system. And in that, you have a partner in us, and we will partner with you. But we thank you very much, comrades, for this opportunity. Amanda!